Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette wrapped early, and sources say Katie was in control. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We have a major update on Katie's season, but before we get into all the details, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. Mariah, I know we were both so excited for Katie's season. Let's just dive right into these details. Apparently, Katie was a very efficient bachelorette. A source has come forward and told Us Weekly, quote, Katie was in control and made sure the men she wanted were there and the men she wasn't interested in, she sent packing. They added that season 17 went great and wrapped a week ahead of schedule. So, we have been talking about this since Katie was announced. We had this feeling that she was going into this knowing exactly what she wanted. She just turned 30. She's not messing around. And it sounds like she really brought that energy to the show. I mean, to wrap an entire week early when we know how precious time is and how everyone is constantly fighting for time, more time with each other. I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting.
Yeah, again, I agree. I'm not surprised at all. I feel like Katie is so confidently herself that it would only make sense that that translates to her dating life. She is going to be confident in her decisions and what guy she's interested in, what guy she's not interested in. And you're so right. She's not trying to waste any of her time, that's for sure, but also not trying to waste anybody's time. So that's so exciting, though. I mean, she's already out there done, and who knows what the outcome was. I can't wait to watch.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Katie handles this. Obviously, I mean, if we're just doing the math, it means she's probably going to send contestants home at least a few times, before the rose ceremonies. Maybe she'll have her mind pretty made up by the time we get towards that final four. And it's going to be interesting to see how cutthroat she is, how they edit her. But I have a feeling that hopefully they put together a really strong group of guys for her. They really did a great job with the men they cast for obviously Claire and then Tayshia's season. So I have pretty high standards for the group she's going to be, mingling with. I hope there are some really good guys in there that do make it difficult for her, right? Because we want her to end up in love, we want her to end up happy, but we want her to have really great options along the way. So
Right.
the journey isn't just she picks one, I guess sort of like Claire would have, and then was done after 12 days. So very interesting to see what her journey is going to shape up to be. But you made a good point. If she wrapped early, right? She's out there in the world right now. We don't know. I mean, do we think she's sitting somewhere with an engagement ring on, totally happy? Especially if she ended things early. I feel like that's just one way or the other, right? She knew her guy, she felt it in her gut, she wrapped things up early, or she knew no one was there that was going to be her person, so she cut it loose. I'm really hoping it's the first, but it feels like it's got to be one of the two at this point.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even considered the possibility that she's somewhere out there, like, so sad because she didn't find the love of her life on the show. I hope I'm with you. I hope that she did find somebody and that it was more so she was so certain that this person was it, that there was just no point in delaying the inevitable, and she just chose them and they wrapped a week early. So I hope, Katie, wherever you are, if you're listening, fingers crossed, girl, I'm really pulling for you. But again, I think I have to trust that casting did their due diligence and really chose guys that were going to make it a challenge for her because they were just so incredible. But also, yes, that they really, really worked hard in securing people that they knew would be a good match for her. So, Katie, again, hopefully you're out there sitting next to your new boo.
I know. I feel like all of us collectively have our fingers crossed. We're anxiously awaiting. We really want a happy love story, not only for Katie, but for all of these upcoming Bachelor seasons. Paradise, Michelle. We need some good news, some good love stories to be excited about. Aside from Katie's journey, the source also revealed what it was like having Tayshia and Kaitlyn on hand to guide Katie through her season. And they said, quote, Tayshia and Kaitlyn can relate to Katie's journey in a lot of different ways, which you'll see play out. So it was nice to have them there to help out with whatever situation came up. They also added Tayshia had fun and loved doing it. She and Kaitlyn made a great team. So this could be really great. Obviously, we don't know what situations may or may not have come up yet. They're going to save all of that for the show. But it sounds like having two former bachelorettes, as we've been talking about since this was announced, was probably really valuable because you're not just turning to someone for blind guidance, you're turning to someone who has been in your shoes before. So I don't know. I still feel like I know people aren't 100% sold yet, but a part of me does really think this could be really great.
Yeah, I agree. Even if this isn't something that they decide to do permanently, I think, first of all, Tayshia and Kaitlyn are super exciting, super engaging. So I think that they no doubt make a great pair. But also, of course, they're going to be able to relate to what Katie's going through and vice versa. So it's almost like she has this advantage on her side that not a lot of other bachelorettes or not any bachelorettes have really gotten in the past because they haven't been able to have two formers at their side to kind of advise them, be, a shoulder to lean on when they need support. So I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of funny highlight moments that Tayshia and Kaitlyn have really brought into the season. But I also think there's going to be a lot of, I guess, 2-on-1 with Kaitlyn's, or that's what I'm expecting, hoping for a lot of like
Mhm.
girl time that they share together and they kind of advise her and they get all of the scoop because I feel like us as women, like we love to engage in that kind of communication with other women and we love to watch it too
Mhm.
because it's just all about like women empowerment and having each other's back. So regardless if this is a permanent thing for them, I don't think it's going to be. I do think it's going to make for a hell of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're so right. I'm so looking forward to those like girly chats, that like girl time moment where you can gossip, just figure it out. I feel like the one thing that's always missing for me when there's a bachelorette and it's a cast of, male contestants, I love the guy time. Like, I do think it's funny. It's always like just such a stark contrast to see how they will all sort of bro out and talk about whoever they're all competing for versus the women. We just like approach those things very differently, I think. At the end of the day, the drama has a different tone, all of that. And as fun as it can be, like, I love seeing what nonsense the boys are going to get into their drama over versus, I mean, let's face it, we just came off of Matt season, the difference in the female drama sometimes, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see amidst all of that male energy, like some really good girly chit chats, sitting down, hashing things out. Because I do think it'll help us kind of understand the headspace of the Bachelorette a little bit more, because that's the one thing that's kind of missing. You have her confessionals. Sometimes when you're talking things out with your girls, like that's when you really make that breakthrough. So definitely excited to see how all of that plays out. The insider did share that Tayshia specifically is interested in hosting again. They didn't have any insights on Kaitlyn, so maybe she is, maybe she isn't. We still don't know. But Tayshia apparently would definitely be willing to jump back into this role. We have kind of talked about this before. I think it's all going to hinge, what comes next as far as hosting the Bachelor, Bachelorette, etc. It's going to be fans' reaction to this season. But if people absolutely love this format, I think we could maybe see that happening. If she's game and she's willing and people are head over heels for this, maybe we see Tayshia back in this role again.
It could be interesting to see. Of course, I think we see a lot of times people who have stepped into the Bachelor franchise or maybe some other big platform, they have kind of taken off with the hosting career. Maybe I'm biased because I love what I do. I know you love what you do, but I think it's the coolest job in the world. So I don't blame anyone else for thinking similarly and wanting to do it moving forward. But I do think maybe it's because Tayshia is she's so beautiful. She's so engaging. I almost feel like if she became like a permanent host for The Bachelor, I would just be more focused on Tayshia and not really like what else is going out. So, or what else is going on. So, I mean, I see a hosting career out there for her. If, fans really love seeing her in this role, I feel like we already know we're going to. But for The Bachelor, I'm almost like, girl, I don't know. I feel like you're too shiny. Like you're too You're too top tier for The Bachelor. Like, all I'm gonna be thinking about is like, what are you wearing? And you're so funny and your laugh is so engaging. And where's Tayshia? I sound like I'm in love with her, and maybe a part of me is. But I do think if she plays her cards right, people are gonna be like, we want to see more of her in this role.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm so with you because I'm such a fan of Tayshia's. Already was before her season, felt absolutely in love with her. I'm so rooting for her and Zach. I do think that whether or not it's a door to another, Bachelor, Bachelorette season or just something else, if she kicks it out of the park in this role, her fans are going to get so used to having her on our TVs. Just came off of her season, took a short break. Now she's back. Like, people are going to want more of her some way, and there are a lot of shows out there. So hopefully we find a way to keep Tayshia on our TV screens because I really do think she is just a solid Bachelor Nation fave. But this source did also share that people on set, the crew, the Bachelor family, they haven't forgotten about Chris Harrison. And there are definitely people in the crew on set who expect Chris to be back and do want him to be back. The source said, quote, there were a lot of very last minute changes. It's a different vibe. Chris was the glue that holds it together. He's like the father figure to everybody. He's somebody everybody knows and respects and truly loves. And, let's face it, the crew, the people behind the scenes, they've probably been a team, a family for a really long time. And Chris obviously played such a dominant role, both on camera and off, that I think that's to be expected. That, of course, there are people in the Bachelor family who are awaiting his return. Another source added that it did take time, for Tayshia and Kaitlyn to adjust and to figure out to navigate these new roles. They explained, quote, Tayshia and Kaitlyn have had to learn how to co-host and it's taken time. And the source also noted that it was made very clear that the women, were not replacing Chris, adding they're lovely to work with and they get along with the crew. It's just completely different with them co-hosting. So I think that's really interesting. I mean, we've been talking about since this announcement happened, all of the different possibilities about what the future of this show is going to look like. Will Chris want to come back? Will Chris want to just move on? Will he want to come back and them not welcome him back? I mean, truly, you can like roll a dice and pick an option. There are so many different ways this thing could go. We have talked about before, like maybe it's Tayshia and Kaitlyn this time, and next time they bring back, I don't know, Allie and Nick Viall, right? Like they just keep throwing random people together who are still faces in Bachelor Nation that we're familiar with and that we like to see. But this source makes an interesting point. There's always going to be a learning curve there. So to a certain extent, do you want to have your hosts, the people who are supposed to be carrying this show every time, also have to learn the ropes? I think we might be getting a more permanent announcement, a more permanent solution. That kind of seems, at least in my opinion, where this thing might be going. They're going to figure out who it's going to be and then stick with it so that they don't have that learning curve every time. What do you think? I mean, obviously all the possibilities are still out there.
The thing is I feel like with a position like a hosting role for a television show that has like multiple series to it, you really need the consistency of having the same person. Every time we expect to see him with The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, and that one show, which I don't know if we're ever going to see that again, but the Listen to Your Heart version of The Bachelor. So I think that consistency is what people really enjoy. Though I think it's exciting. Like, we love our Bachelor alums, and it would be so cool to see them kind of step into a role from time to time. I don't know if the role that they should step into is the permanent hosting role. So I think I wouldn't be upset to see Chris Harrison come back. I think he's done everything that he's needed to take accountability, educate himself, be better, do better. I would be happy to see him come back. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I think he's done what he's needed to, and he continues to put the work in, and I appreciate that. But again, I'm just hoping that they give us a permanent answer here pretty soon, because like I said, we all kind of like that consistency. And moving forward, I want to know what we can expect from Michelle's season. Are we going to have Tayshia come back for that? I mean, I think it would be nice for if Katie got this advantage of having two women on her side as co-hosts to kind of help lead her through that. I think it would only be fair for Michelle to get the same advantage. And then maybe Bachelor in Paradise, we bring Chris back, or maybe we have Wells come in. Love him. I think he'd be great for Bachelor in Paradise as a host. But there's a lot of possibilities. I think regardless of what they do, we just need to pick someone and place them in a permanent role.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think what people are definitely going to be looking for is we want some of these questions answered, right? Right now, there are so many things surrounding the franchise. Obviously, there are a lot of changes that people are pushing for, and rightly so. But it feels like there's just so many question marks with what these next seasons are going to be, what they're going to represent, how they're going to handle it, who's going to be taking charge. Like at a certain point, as viewers, you just want to sit down and know what to expect. And listen, the franchise has been around for such a long time. I think there are so many diehard, lifelong fans that are ready to take this period of transition and hopefully, let the show start a better chapter. But I think people are kind of getting antsy, right? They want that chapter to start. They want something consistent. They want to know what to expect. I mean, we've said this so many times. There's a lot riding on Katie's season, right? Coming off of Matt's season, coming off of all the controversy, all the chaos, this season needs to be that reset button. So far, it really does seem like it's been smooth sailing. I try to look at things glass half full. I think I have a lot of high hopes, and I feel like we're gonna be happy. I don't know. Maybe it's naive, but I just have this, like, yeah, everything's gonna work out feeling. I mean, what do you think? Are you optimistic?
I kind of feel the same way because how desperately the franchise needs to win people back onto their side. Like they need people to be like, okay, we're finally doing things that we like to see again. It's not all focused on this toxic drama. We actually did our research on the contestants. So that's nice. That's just nice to see when things kind of operate back to the way that made us fall in love with watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette in the first place. But given the fact that they have wrapped a week early, it seems like things have been smooth sailing. Katie's made a decision. I hope that it, found her the love of her life. I hope that she didn't end up single at the end of all of this. But regardless, I think that we can expect good things from the season because I am equally optimistic. Hopefully, yeah, it's not, me being naive or anything, but just looking towards the future, that's all.
Yes, I am so with you. You guys, that's everything we've learned about Katie's season that we have to share with you for now. As we inch closer and closer to her premiere date, I'm sure we are going to be getting more details, more exciting bits and pieces of information. So for now, we just want to know, are you excited? What are you hoping to see? And as far as all of these question marks in Bachelor Nation, how do you hope it all shakes out? Let us know down in the comments. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell because we will keep you updated as we learn more information. As always, I'm your host, Fiona Zaring, joined by the wonderful Mariah Davis. If you want to come say hi, our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.